Hello everyone, it's Jay here from the Trading Court Podcast, a Pokemon TCG podcast bringing you anything and everything Pokemon TCG related. If you are looking for Pokemon TCG competitive decks ready to go, including GLC decks, please head over to PokéDex4U.com. Pokédex4U has a variety of decks ready for sale, with each deck being fully customizable and bespoke to your needs. Use the code TrainingCourtTCG for 5% off your first order. Now let's get on to the episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Trading Court TCG podcast, a Pokemon TCG podcast about anything and everything Pokemon TCG related. Jay here, and I'm joined by my fellow co-host, Al. Hello.
All right, just us two today.
Yeah, it's just the two of us. Andy and Kath have taken a quick break. They're just going to, I believe, they're going to a wedding for a friend. So they're absent this week, but it's myself and Alex, and we're going to cover all elements of what happened in Lille, and then also discuss Paradox Rift, and also maybe give a slight teaser for what's coming next week. So let's start off as we usually do. And I think it's quite an easy one to choose now because I think it's just me and you. So what have you been playing this week?
So I went to a challenge spontaneously actually on a Sunday, and I finally got my hands on some Charizard EX, and they arrived on Friday. So I was like, well, I'll play it on Sunday. And actually, I don't know if I told you, but Sammy, when he came over, when he was playing cards, I got him my brother. I got him the Mew VMAX League Battle Kit, and I upgraded it with some of the cards that I had, and I gave him a couple of Forest Seal Stones. And I was like, don't take them home, because he lives in Norway. And I was like, don't take them home because I need them.
Yeah.
And forgot about them. And he took them home. And I managed to pull a Forest Seal Stone from a prize pack. So I got one of the non-hollow ones. But I was like, should I play it with just one Forest Seal Stone? In the end, I did. So I played the Charizard. I played with one Forest Seal Stone. I played two Delphox Vs. Which I really liked. I didn't play the Radiant Charizard. I put in an extra Delphox V. I also played with 9 energies instead of the standard 8 because I did some maths and I figured I can use Delphox V twice and still have enough energy because you have to discard 2.
Yeah.
And I did some maths and figured that I could use Delphox V twice and use a Charizard once for the kills. And just have some to spare just in case some get prized. So that was my reasoning behind that. Also played a Raihan because I figured if don't have a second Forest Seal Stone, I'm going to play a Raihan just for a bit of added consistency.
How did that do?
I did use the Raihan in one of the games. Raihan does pop up every so often in games. It's nice to have it, but obviously I played with the Pidgeot, so I played the Arven build, and I played. So because Pidgeot allows you just to get any card, you can afford to play the one-offs. And I played one of a Professor's Research and one of a Raihan. It's just nice to be able to just get those cards when you need it. So my run, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I won 2 and lost 2. I think you can attest to the fact that sometimes just Arvens are just bricks, but I did have a particularly hard time of it in the games that I lost. So the first game, played against the Gardevoir EX. And this Gardevoir EX is one that I previously lost quite badly to in the mirror when I played last time. It's the same guy. He plays a Drifloon with the Bravery Charm. And I was anticipating that he was playing that, so I was quite happy that I had my lost vacuums. And the first game, I trounced him because I don't think he was expecting the Delphox. He didn't put Manaphy down. I used Delphox turn 2. And then I think I might have... I don't think I used it again. I knocked out something with the Charizard, and I bust out his Gardevoir EX, and he scooped that one. And then the second one, I didn't use the Delphox. I just set up quickly, and I was just knocking out his Pokemon. And then he did set up his Drifloon. Then I had Arven in my hand, and I just Arven for a lost vacuum, got rid of his Bravery Charm. So then he had one prize left because Bravery Charm just knocks it out, and it's still my turn. And I just took the prize. So I did that combo, which I always thought, should I put Lost Vacuum in Guardy because it's quite nice to be able to, especially against Miraidon, but I just never really put it in. But that was my Gardevoir game. The second game was against the Lugia, and I lost this one, and it was a pretty bad loss because I just bricked both games. The first game I started with Lumineon Attach Pass. And then my next turn, I drew an energy. So I just scooped. I was like, this is turn 3. I don't have any Charmanders, don't have any Pidgeys down. And he's already got his Lugia V-Star up. It's not going to end well. Then the second game, just as I think is interesting, the Gardevoir games, both games I went second. Obviously the first game I lost the flip, so he went first. Second game he gets to choose, he went first. I won both games. The Lugia games, and this actually was the pattern for the entire day. Every single game that I went second, I won, and every game that I went first, I lost. Sorry. And this is actually, so I've started going second on purpose on the ladder just to see. In games that I go second, I usually win. And that's because often when I go first, I don't draw a Battle VIP Pass, but I do draw an Ultra Ball, or I do draw an Arven, or I do draw a Luminion. There's so many outs to Battle VIP Pass on your first turn going second. You've got 4 Ultra Balls, a Luminion, and 4 Arvens, and the 4 Battle VIP Pass. That's what, 13. Whereas you've just got the 4 on turn 1 going first, unless you draw into a V and a Forest Sealstone.
Yeah.
So going second for Charizard EX, at least with the Arven, especially with the Arven build, I would say is definitely the play. You've got so many outs to Battle VIP Pass, it's unreal. But anyway, so the second game I bricked as well against Lugia. I think I can't remember what I drew, but I didn't draw very well. Then the third game.
Was it colorless or?
It was colorless.
Lugia? Okay.
The next game was against the Chen Pao, and Chen Pao's already a bad matchup, especially when you open with Luminion again, which I did. So I opened with Luminion again. And I think he did the Chen Pao thing eventually of just cross switching. It was a complete and utter demolishing of nothing that I just couldn't get into the game at all in either of the games. He just did Chen Pao things and was able to knock out my Pokemon. So I lost that one. And then the final one was against Miraidon. And this was quite interesting. So I won this game, game 1. I actually said to my opponent, I've drawn Luminion, open Luminion twice. So this is my day. And I'll be like, if I draw Luminion, I'm going home. I opened with Luminion again, game 1. I didn't go home, played on. But I opened with Luminion. I was like, it's just not going to work. And they obviously KO'd it, turn 1 or turn 2. I was like, should I scoop? And I was like, I played on. This is the same with the second game, but I played on, and in the end, they just weren't able to hit the numbers. They made a mistake, and then this is the difference between Chen Pao and Raichu in Miraidon, is that Chen Pao can consistently get all those energies back onto the board, whereas they made the mistake of hitting with 5 energies to do 300 with their Raichu and then not being able to follow it up. They couldn't get their energies fast enough, and I now won the prize race. So the second game, I almost scooped to go into a game 3 because turn 2 they lost zoned my Charmanders on the board. Oh, my one Charmander, and I was like, if they boss up my Charmander, I'm gonna scoop. This is what I was thinking in my head, and they bossed up my Charmander, and I was like, let's just play it on. And I played it on, and I managed to get another Charmander, a couple of Charmanders, and I kind of played it a bit slower, and I think I bossed up something, I can't remember. But I ended up winning that game because they did the same thing with their energies. So, but yeah, I really do think that the going back to my list, I really do think that the Delphox V is better than the Entei, because it just helps you so much in the one prize matchups. Even Guardy Lost Box, it just really helps to take those double knockouts. So I really do rate even playing 2. I said this to you before. I would play 9 rounds of Charizard EX Arven over playing 9 rounds of Guardy. Just seems too mentally taxing to play Guardy for 9 rounds. And also, the reason I played Charizard was because it was a best of 3, and I didn't want to tie, and I didn't tie a game. I won 2 and lost 2. So,
I mean, is that your deck now? Because obviously over the past 12 months, I say 12 months.
playing
It's been
Guardy.
It feels like it's 12 months, but it's less than 12 months. You've been literally Guardy of the Guardy train for quite some time. Are you
Yeah.
an Arven? Are you Arvenzard now? Are you an Arvenzard main?
I do like I like how easy Guardy is to set up and for it to function. It's a very mentally taxing deck, but essentially once you're set up, once you're through the mid game, you can just continuously play your deck. The deck doesn't stop halfway through the game because you have exhausted your resources or whatever, like with Miraidon getting rid of all its energy. Even Chen Pao, maybe they don't hit a superior energy retrieval or what, but Guardy will always be able to get the energy out of the discard, as long as you've got a Guardy X, obviously.
Yeah.
So it is a great deck, but I think I was listening to Lake of Rage, and they said that Guardy's a trap because it's the best deck in the format, but you just need to be a rocket scientist or Tord to be able to play it consistently. I was watching I think I was listening to Azul's rant about Guardy in his tournament a few weeks ago, and he struck out with Guardy. And if he strikes out with Guardy, I'm not as good as Azul, like about probably 1% of Azul's ability. So if he strikes out with Guardy, why do I think that I would be good? Why do I think that like I would be able to go with Guardy? So yeah, I don't think Guardy, as good as it is, I think it is a trap. I think it, as to quote Lake of Rage, don't want to plagiarize them, but they say it's a trap, and I believe that. I'd say I echo that as well. Yeah, I think it is. But yeah,
cool.
That's my rant.
Cool.
So Armazard, I think until Paradox Rift, got a lot of good cards from Paradox Rift, a lot of good archetypes. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's good cards. I just don't know if that. Yeah, I mean
It's
a difficult one. I mean, so we didn't, unfortunately, we weren't able to record last week due to real life commitments.
Yeah.
The week beforehand, I did actually. I played Arvenzard in a challenge as well, and I have sworn to never play it again.
Why? Why?
Because it bricked horrifically. It bricked absolutely horrifically for me. I played it the week before at my local league, and I went 3-0, and then I played it at the challenge, and I went 2-3. So I won 2, lost 3. It was again, the challenges, just to reiterate for anyone listening, and if they're in the UK, specifically Northwest, the challenges at Fanboy 3 in Manchester, they consistently get over 20 odd people. I think there was 27, which is mental for a Monday night challenge. So it's only the quality is really, really, really good. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to go into the depths of every single matchup because I struggle to remember some of them. And I think we've already had enough Arvenzard talk for the episode. But yeah, basically struck out 3 times. Could have potentially won the Lost Zone. I played, my matchups were Chempa, which I won, lost Tina, which I lost because I drew garbage, and the only Zard I got up got Lost Impact, Star Requiem, so I just had no chance, and I couldn't get going at all. Third game was Turbo Lost Box, which I didn't play a single supporter because I didn't draw into a single supporter. I still could have won, however, I was a bit reluctant to. Basically, they just kept attacking with Sableye, and I kept knocking out the Sableyes. And then they had 2 prizes left, and I had 2 prizes left. And they'd already set up. They'd already set up my Luminion, which I had to use to get a supporter. I think. Oh, sorry, it wasn't that game. I didn't get a supporter. It's the game beforehand. But I had to use Luminion V to get a supporter out. And then they'd already sprinkled 160 damage onto my 170 Luminion. So I thought if I put a Charmander down, even though I had Rare Candy and Zard in hand, if I put my Charmander down and they get another, say they get, I should have checked the resources probably better, but I thought if they can get another Sableye out, that's 3 prizes and they win the game in the next attack. What actually happened was they attacked one of my Pokemon, my 2 prizes, with a Raikou, a fully charged Raikou, and if I had actually put the Charmander down and then evolved it, I could have taken the knockout for my last 2 prizes and taken the win. But hey ho, we live and learn. I then played, I can't remember the deck I played after, but it was rubbish. I didn't do very well, and I finally played against some weird Miraidon King Gambit deck, which just didn't work at all, and I was able to take the prize very, very quickly. It was a best of 1 format, so yeah, it's just I was not going to touch Arbanzard again. I'm not going to touch Arbanzard again. Mate, as famous last words, because I've said that about Lugia, and surprise, shock horror, I've been testing colorless media this week. But yeah, I mean, I think the difficulty is that's the difficulty. It's just deciding on what deck you want to play. Like, I've been playing a lot this week, so
that's so open, isn't it?
By the time this episode comes out, I will be at I've got a challenge the next day. So I've got another challenge the next day. So I've got one challenge on Saturday, which is tomorrow, and then a week tomorrow I've got my last cup of the 151 format before Paradox Rift comes into effect and comes live. So trying to just get the round out the month really, with those challenges and cups.
What's your choice to play on Saturday?
So you've also got to take into, I mean, we're not into a tournament, so it's not a tournament setting. So I've got to play to the meta at my local shop. The meta at my local shop is both of them, actually. So I'm going to 2 different ones. One's a challenge, one's a cup. Both of them are heavy Chien-Pao.
Yeah.
Heavily Chien-Pao. So over the past 2 weeks, I have been testing rigorously against Chien-Pao. And I've been playing DTE Mew. I've been playing Miraidon. And then I've also been playing Colorless Lugia. So what I like about the Don and I like about DTE Mew is Judge Path in this format is just incredibly strong. If you just Judge Path someone and constantly path them, it shuts down their Shivery Chill, shuts down their draw. They can still draw, etc., from Bibaro, which is, a necessity for them. They can still draw, but that energy, not being able to get that 2 energy out and then, retreat and then get another 2 energy out and then all of a sudden superior energy retrieval.
Here's the thing about Judge Path. In Paradox Rift, you'll be able to do Mew, Judge Path, Countercatcher, or whatever it's called, onto the Bibarel, and then make it stick. It'd be insane.
It would be mental, yeah. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to it. But obviously, I mean, we'll talk about a bit more about Paradox Rift later on. But yeah, kind of like my kind of. I've been really, really enjoying DTE Mew. My worry for me is, is anyone going to play a lot of Spiritomb? Realistically, I don't think so. I don't think anyone. I think Mew's kind of gone under the radar, albeit, for spoiler alert, Mew just won the Lille regionals. It was a fusion Mew. I don't know if many people are going to actually be running Spiritomb or Drapions anymore. I'm not 100% sure on my locals, especially if it's heavy Chien-Pao anyway. And I also love, and I played against you a quick game yesterday, I think it was, and just being able to use Grabber to put the Pokemon that you need at the bottom of the pile is pretty cool. And then also just discarding with Luxray Fang Snipe for, it only does 10 damage, which is here nor there, but just being able to discard Arven, to discard Rare Candies, to discard Iridas, to discard Superior Energy Retrievals, Super Odds, it's really, really fun, whilst all on the back, setting yourself up. And then also once you're set up, then you just path and just keep basically Fang Sniping, disrupting their hand. When they get a big hand, Grabber lets you see their hand, so I can see if I need to disrupt it. Fang Snipe lets me get rid of items and draw trainers cards, so I'll be able to see then, and then I can just basically judge into the next turn. Again, another path. Fang Snipe, get rid of the bounce, so get rid of the stadium or the lost vacuum.
It's like a control deck almost, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it's actually some of the most fun I've had recently. Miraidon's just Miraidon. I think Miraidon's a very, very good deck. It is very good. I know you said about going second, but the only issue going second is with a lot of decks, specifically Mew, Miraidon, and Lost Tina. you can end up being paffed at the end of turn 1, and then if you've not got the bounce, that stops you completely. Stops you completely. So that's most decks. That's Chen Pao. That's Arvanzard. The only ones really.
But Arvanzard can go and get Arvan can go and get a Lost Vacuum in a Forest Sealstone.
Not if you're dead drawing and you got Luminion in front, because it happened to me as well. I started Luminion.
That's the game.
Every deck is and I think Colourless Lugia as well really surprised me. It was a rogue choice that I did in testing last night, and I played two best of 3 games. Two best of 3 games, and I won both 2-1 each. So Colourless Lugia is just good. Colourless Lugia is really good at the moment. I've played it a bit online. I'm doing a lot of misplays online, which are annoying, and I also couldn't get a Luxray out onto my bench, even though for the mirror, which annoyed me because then I lost. But that was a bit of a bug with the thing.
Against Chen Pao, which deck would you say? Because Chen Pao could just knock out a Mew and then knock out another Mew pretty easily. Like all it needs is 2 turns.
Not if you're getting rid of the Iridas, the superior energy retrievals, and pattering them because they can't get the energy out and they can't draw. It's purely for it is disruption. I think I like the Don a lot. I like mid Rhydon, as people call it. I like mid Rhydon a lot.
Isn't
like
the
you said,
Don,
the Raichus. I just don't Raichus that great.
Isn't the Don Groudon? Groudon is the Don. Rhydon is the
mid Rhydon. Mid Rhydon. I think out of the 3, Miraidon's third. And for me at the moment, I've got another couple of nights of testing before my before the challenge. It's a toss up for me between Colourless Lugia or Mew. I like Colourless Lugia because even into other matchups, you've got the single prizer of Snorlax. So, for example, if you come against something like a Lost Box, it is still quite difficult, but you've got that Snorlax that consistently can hit 160 with DTE attached to it, or 180 with a normal attached, 3 normal energies attached, and then also it's got 150 HP itself, so it's quite tanky. It can take a cram. It also can't be hit by Sableye. Good. Massive. So I like that. But what I've noticed a lot on the ladder, because I have been playing on the ladder, I've been picked up live for the first time in months actually, and it's just Greninja can still tack so easily, and it's just basically I played a Lost Box, and I'm going to talk about this very very quickly. I played a Lost Box on the ladder today. They were ranked 800 points plus, etc. etc. I'm only 300, and I misplayed. I actually only managed to get 1 Archeops out, but I was quite slow, and then my perfect hand got Iono'd out of. So I was like, bugger. So I was like, I had to. I was at the point where you have to kind of commit, and you have to go, right, I have to start attacking now. So I have to manually attach. And basically, I won it because I won it. We had 1 prize each, and I won it by bossing up a Shaman V, which they had in the deck, which I assume that's just a choice for the Charizard matchup. Yeah. They put the Shaman V down purely for the Forest Sealstone play. I didn't see any other Vs. I then filled up, and then they basically were peppering my bench with they'd actually killed the Miraidon because they Greninja'd 90 onto my only Archeops, and then 90 onto a Snorlax. So then when it did come back round, the Sableye was able to take out the Archeops really easily with just 60 damage. So that was a bit annoying, but they basically kept going on a Lugia V-Star, and then I basically filled up my bench, and I collapsed away the Lugia with only 20 health left. So quite enjoyed that. Forced them to get rid of but at that point I bossed up I bossed up Shaman, and they had nothing left and I kept Ionoing them to 1.
You know what?
So I only won purely because I just basically looked at their discard and they lost it, and I said they've completely run out of switch options, and they've already committed the energy to the Sableye, so they couldn't get the 1 energy onto Shaman to retreat, and they'd already used Forest Sealstone. So that's the only reason I won. But I'm enjoying Colourless Lugia, and I think it's really, really good. I don't know how often. I've not used the Weird Ear once, but
I always get, whenever I play against Lugia, they win because of the Weird Ear. Like they always
Yeah.
have that, and I'm thinking, oh, this is all right. Like they all they've got is Snorlaxes, and I'm chilling. Suddenly they just put a bunch of energy. They bring out the weird. They put a jet energy on it,
Yeah.
and then suddenly they're doing like
All the
I don't know,
energy
1,200
gets,
damage.
yeah, all the energy gets swallowed up. Yeah, it's pretty good. I am leaning more towards the Lugia matchup because Lugia can then is a bit more consistent into other matchups. So the meta at my local
You could
is
stick
very bizarre, very
Could you?
bizarre. So
Are there any metal Pokemon you could put in Lugia just to, if you think that you're just going to play against Champals, maybe is there like Zamazenta or something? I don't know that you can actually use. I don't know if there's any energy that. I guess he's colorless Lugia, isn't it? So you need to be able to have a metal Pokemon with colorless energy. I don't know what that, if there
that's
is.
it. I need to look into it, but there was a there was a Pokemon. I can't remember what it was. I saw it recently put into. It was a Skarmory.
Oh yeah.
Skarmory from Fusion Strike is 120 HP basic Pokemon. It's a single strike Pokemon, and basically it does Slicing Blade for two two steel energy, two metal energy if you want to call them, and one colorless Slicing Blade for 110. So it's exactly perfect
Okay.
into Chien-Pao. The problem is it's a single strike Pokemon, so you can actually use single strike energy.
Right.
But
Okay. Yeah.
the thing is, it's the only Pokemon that can use it. Um, are you going to put two in? What if what if you prize one? You've got to put two in.
Yeah.
It's quite
Well,
difficult. So
how
you can do
many
single
like
strike energy
stone
or
journeys?
impact. So you can do impact, but that's not it's not colorless then, is it?
But how many stone journeys do you usually play
On
if you're playing like stone? Oh yeah, because you have to play single strike energy. You might as well put it in single strike deck. But
Well, exactly, it should be single strike Lugia then, but I think colorless is in a really good place at the moment. I don't know. I'm gonna mess around. I am gonna mess around. It's just you need two impact or two single strike energy. Single strike obviously does really good because it does the extra 20 damage. Also you can't use single strike.
impact
Actually,
energy
sorry, you
is that
can't use single strike because it's fighting or dark. It's impact
oh yeah.
energy. There you go. We've got our RTFC. Single strike energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides fighting fighting and dark energy, but only provides
Mm.
one at a time. So it have to be impact energy, which basically provides every type of energy. So it's just if you prize two or one, that you can't use that Pokemon. So then always need to play three, and then if you get it can only be used that
And you're
one
playing
Pokemon.
you've got two Skarmories and four energy cards that you've got six cards just for one Pokemon really. Because you're
Hmm.
not using the single strike, the impact energy on any other Pokemon because you're not playing single
Whereas,
strike.
I mean, realistically, Lugia V Star itself, if you attach four energies and not a DTE, that hits for 220 and takes a knockout anyway. So
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
so I don't think it's needed, to be honest. But it's a good shout. I think there's a couple of cards that you look at and you think, oh, you know what, it'd be really good to have them in. Like for example, Radiant Serena. I know that was played a lot.
Mm.
That felt really good in Lugia because it just helps with the Sableye maths and Radiant Greninja maths. Also Dunsparce for the Don matchup. I just think there's some
hmm
really good cards, but
The
I
good
did
thing
say
about
a couple.
Lugia is that I found this after tinkering with arc piles is that you don't have with arc like you're only accelerating energy to V's, but with Lugia it's kind of future proof until it obviously rotates. So you can just put energy wherever you want really with it and any Pokemon, EXs, whatever.
It's the
So
same with Chen-Pals. You can move that water energy anywhere. You can power up any Pokemon
mm,
that's got colorless attack cost. So I did play on the ladder against someone randomly actually playing a Chen-Pao, and then they had I can't remember what Pokemon they played with it. I was like, it was Pokemon I'd never seen with Chen-Pao. It wasn't just standard Chen-Pao. I
was it
can't.
a water Pokemon?
No, no.
Mm.
I can't even remember. It was that bizarre, and then they conceded because I got set up really quickly, and they didn't. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, I've been here before. I've been stung by Lugia, and it's whether I do look into it again. But I've got a couple more days testing before the challenge, so I'm going to have a mess around. But I think colorless is such a good deck. It's really really fun. The discussion
Mm.
I'm having at the moment is Luxray for the mirror, but is there going to be many Lugias about?
Luxray and Lugia.
Yeah, Luxray. So the colourless build plays Luxray because it's specifically for the mirror.
No, Luxray V. Sorry, the Luxray. Yeah.
Sorry, the
Put it on your
Luxray from not Obsidian Flame. It's Paldea Evolved.
Yeah.
Where you put it on your bench and then run reversal energy, and then that can take out a Lugia V-Star. So, yeah, it's either that or Radiant Charizard, because Radiant Charizard again is really good, especially into the Chen Pao build, because you can put that down and that one luminous energy can then take out a Chen Pao. Hits for 250. So I'm having that debate at the moment, so I'm testing both. But again, you guys out there, just let us know what you think, what's best, because I could do with some help.
So the luminous energy, when you put another special energy on, do those special energies just become colorless, or does the luminous energy become colorless?
Luminous becomes colorless, so you can only attach one, so you've got to be 4 prizes down. So it's basically last attacker.
Are you going to put in Iron Hands in Lugia?
I have no idea. I have not even considered that, because I need to consider, really. So I think that's probably a good segue, moving over to kind of something else that I've been playing, and obviously it's been Paradox Rift pre-release. So I attended a pre-release event on Monday this week, and I actually came 4th out of 23 people with my deck. It was awful. I don't like pre-release format. So my first game is, for those who are unaware, pre-release format is 40 card deck, and it's 4 prizes. It's tough. I tell you what, those extra 20 spaces, you don't think much, but it's such a it's mental trying to fit 40 cards in, and especially like in pre-release when you've got no boss, you've got no gust, you've got no. I had like 1 ultra ball. Some people have nest ball. I was like, I'm so jealous of you for having nest ball.
What did you? Which decks did you get?
So from my pre-release kit, I got the AG Slash promo, and the deck that I had was the AG Slash and Chi-Yu. And out of my packs within the actual pre-release kit, I got 1 Sandy Shocks EX. So Sandy Shocks EX was pretty good, actually, because it's a fighting type Pokemon. It was the full art as well, so it was pretty. And it's got the ability Magnetic Absorption. So for once during your turn, if your opponent has 4 or fewer prize cards remaining, you may attach a basic fighting energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. So that was really handy, because you start with 4 prizes. So I was automatically able to do that. So basically what I was doing was I was powering up Aegislash with 1 metal and 1 fighting energy, and then when the fighting energy when I got knocked out, I was able to use Sandy Shocks to Magnetic Absorption and then also attach for turn. And then for 2 fighting energy and a colorless, it does Earthen Spike for 200 damage, but during your next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. That's quite debilitating, because in pre-release format you haven't got escape rope, you haven't got like the gust in the reset, etc. So it was pretty tough, but I won 2, lost 1. My first game I won because my opponent could only get 1 basic Pokemon out. Second game, I best of 1 format as well, by the way, sorry. Second game I lost because I could only get 1 Pokemon out. And then the third game was actually the best game, where we both I thought it was really, really good, actually. It was he was running what was he running? I think he was running the Iron Bundle. So Iron Bundle has the ability, the blower ability, which basically it's a gust option, but your opponent chooses. So you basically it's like the ability is but you don't move your active. I've actually got it here. Hyper Blower. So once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. But in brackets, your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon. If you do, discard this Pokemon and all attached cards. So again, if you've got nothing, it's a gust.
That's what gust is in the video game. Is you gust out a Pokemon and then they choose. It literally is actually a gust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was pretty cool, pretty annoying as well. But yeah. So he was running that with Glossopod as well. Glossopod's a basic.
No,
no, just a normal one. It's quite annoying, actually. For one, again, in pre-release format, your hands are usually quite big because you kind of just constantly drawing cards, you know, and
Right.
you're not really discarding. There's no Judge Iono, there's no research,
Yeah,
not that I
yeah,
knew of.
sure, yeah.
So for one, Glossopod had for one water energy, you do 20 damage for the amount of Pokemon, so the amount of cards your opponent has
All
in
right.
their hand. So if you think you've got six. You've got six cards. You're doing 120 damage. I'm not being funny. Pre-release format, unless you've got an EX,
I
most
know.
things
I
are
hate
about
to.
100 to 130 anyway.
Yeah.
So it was. I got done by that quite a lot. But the third game, he had a Hooper EX, and I had Sandy Shocks. We traded attacks into it. We both retreated, and then I put my Aegislash up and was able to take a knockout. And Aegislash has the ability that obviously EX and V can't attack into it, so he had to play around it, and it was quite good actually. It was quite fun. But yeah, pool wise, I got some nice cards. But this format is going to be pretty cool. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the format.
Yeah, me too.
And kind of one thing we wanted to let everyone know, a sneak peek, we've got a big full-on review and discussion about Paradox Rift coming next week. And that we are going to be joined by a very special guest. So we've got Joe Bernard from Omnipoke joining us as well next week. So it's good to have Joe back on. He can obviously discuss his performance at Lille, and also I believe he's doing this week all the build up to Paradox Rift and all the decks. Looking forward to. So I think it's awesome to discuss going to a new meta with basically someone who is so well respected and got so much knowledge in the community. So really looking
Sure,
forward,
yeah. Can't wait for that.
really looking forward to that. But we should probably go back a bit and touch on the regional and Lille. I know we mentioned before that so it was I mentioned before that a Mew deck won Lille, but and I have said it was Fusion as well. So I have kind of ruined that for everyone, so apologies. But I would like to congratulate Konsta Kalama from Finland for winning the Lille regional. So 855 players, and Mew came out top. So kind of looking at his list,
Can you see my screen, by the way?
I can, yeah.
Okay, cool.
I mean, looking at his list, it's very, very. It looks almost nearly basic. I would say basic, a basic Fusion Strike build. It's got a couple of cards really that made a change. So
Do they usually
Avery.
Do they usually? No, they don't.
No. So Avery's an inclusion. And I know a good friend of ours as well, Bert's TCG. He chose, I think in the casters, he was casting at Lille, and I think in the casters predictions, he said a card that will see some play and make the difference is Avery, and I think he also chose Mew to win. So to Bert's for doing that. Again, it was awesome seeing him there. And yeah, so Avery, I think it's a really, really, really good card. Like it was quite interesting in the final. Did you watch the final with against Arthur? Who was playing an interesting build of Lost Box as well, which we'll talk about next. But yeah, it was interesting to see because obviously Spiritomb came out, which can really, really stop Mew in its tracks. And I think he did play Avery, and it was like Arthur's decision was like, oh, do I get rid of the Spiritomb? Do I get rid of the Spiritomb, Sableye? And he ended up, I think he chose one, then put it back. And he was like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then he ended up choosing the Sableye. That's how important the Spiritomb was. But obviously, the benefit of the Fusion Strike build of Mew is the Genesets all had Fusion Strike energy attached to them.
Exactly.
They can still draw. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's a really, really consistent list. Trekking Shoes is quite an interesting inclusion. Very surprised about Trekking Shoes, but it makes sense.
I want to see, because this is one of the things I was wondering about Mew. So he's only played one Charizard, and every time I've actually never lost to it. Oh, actually, I lost to you. That's a lie.
I was gonna say,
but I've played a lot of Charizard and Aladdin. I played a few Mew, and it's hard to lose to Mew. When I'm not playing the Luxray kind of disruption package, I actually only ever played that against you. Otherwise, it's very easy. It's almost an auto win against Mew with Charizard. Even if you have a slow start, it's quite easy. But looking at his standings here, he only played Charizard once. He won, in fairness. But yeah, he only played one Charizard, and in fairness, he won. But it's not a given. Like if you look at say others Like, and the one who came second,
Arthur.
Arthur, yeah, sorry. He played 3 Charizards, and I think if Conster had played 3 Charizards, I don't think he would have got. I don't think he would have got to the. Well, maybe he would have still. I don't know, because he still got 3. He got 2 wins, 2 losses. Sorry, I don't know how it works. If you get, he had a tie, so if we would have got 3 losses out of 9, I would have been 5 and 1. I don't know if he would have still got through. Maybe he would.
I do think the thing is, as well, you got to understand is Constant is a very, very, very good player. He's also a consistent player with Mew. So if you look at his kind of last 4 tournaments, he won Lille, so came first in Lille with Fusion Mew. He came 16th in Worlds with Fusion Mew. He came 77th at NAIC with Fusion Mew, and he also came second in Malmo with Mew as well. I have a looking at his list. That was DTE Mew, but that was back in May this year when DTE was so prevalent. So he is a consistent player with Mew, and I don't know. Obviously, like I said, Rowan Stevanov made the DTE looks very grabber build to combat Charizard exactly, specifically. And I said I've only played 2 Zards on the ladder. Well, one on the ladder and one against you with the DTE build that I've been playing, and I've won both of them.
Yeah,
because the disruption, the path, just. I know you said Arven, but if you're getting rid of the Arven and then judging them and then getting rid of the next Arven, they can't get out of it. So
yeah,
it is difficult. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously props off to Conster, had a fantastic season.
I mean, not taking anything away from him. Obviously, he's a fantastic player, and likely,
massively,
likely if you would have played more Charizard, I still would have won. But yeah, I think you just gotta sometimes to make a big run like that, a deep run in a tournament, you've got to have a bit of luck as well. And
so as you can see on the screen, again, apologies for the people listening at home not watching. If you see on screen, if you scroll down now, it actually says that the same deck was played by Ovind as well. So if you want to have a look at his stats maybe on PokeStats and see what his standings were.
As it goes to Liverpool, it keeps going to Liverpool. Liverpool last year.
This year, it just last season though. And
that's true. Yeah. Is it him? No.
Yes. Yeah. Ovind. Yeah.
He played Lost Box Zard.
So he only played Sablezard. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, that's not Charizard. Yeah, because that's Sablezard, right?
That's Sablezard. Yeah.
So he didn't play a single Charizard. I think you've just got to have a tiny bit of luck with your matchups, because Mew's. What was his list? I mean, he didn't play the Luxray list.
No,
that is best
Gabor. Sorry, is it Gabor or Gabor? Sorry, he 6th position. He did play the DTE Mew.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he didn't play Luxray either. I think the Luxray version is the best chance against Charizard still. Like, even though there's there's a top 10, even though there's 3 in the top 10 Mews, which would suggest, oh well, it doesn't matter about Charizard because Mew's still having 3 in the top 10. Well, no, they only played 1 Charizard between them in the entire day, like 2 days actually, or 2 Charizards maybe between them. So yeah, I still wouldn't play Mew because of Charizard, to be honest. I wouldn't play a deck if it had an auto loss. But they obviously did, and he didn't hit a Charizard, so yeah. Like looking at, say, 10th place Pedro Vicencio, maybe, if we have a Portuguese accent. He played a Charizard, and he didn't hit a Mew either. So just good looks and bad.
Yeah, so as I mentioned before, sorry, Gabor, who came 6th, played the DTE version of Mew, and he did come up against a Charizard, only one, and he won. So it's doable. It's doable. I said it's there's also a lot of it
path, I guess. Judge path.
The look of the rub of the green if you get the right cards as well. So but it was definitely interesting. I mean, kind of looking at the statistics of the day, of the actual spread overall. Lost Box took 15% of the board space. Gardevoir took 14%, Charizard EX 12%, Miraidon 11%, but didn't have much of a conversion, to be honest. Though I don't think there was a Miraidon at all. Was there a Miraidon in the top 10? I don't think there was.
We're on Limitless's statistics. I'm not sure which this is. It just this must be the top, the top 100 or something, or top. This is just day 2, most successful decks it seems. But I don't. Miraidon 8%.
Yeah, but I'm trying to see. That's just how many actually in. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking now through on Limitless, and I think the first Miraidon is 35th place. Right. So Miraidon had a really, really poor conversion. Lugia Archeops, again, Patrick, who was also on stream for his top 4 game. He played the colourless build of Lugia. Again, really, really, really good. Really, really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that game. Again, that made me think, maybe Lugia. I know he lost overall to Arthur, but overall it was a very, very, very good game. Before we kind of move on, I think best probably looking at Arthur's list, because I did mention beforehand that Arthur's list was an interesting variation of Turbo Lost Box. So. Okay. I mean, obviously, you've got I think the main new inclusions in this one are firstly the Ditto, which I've had discussions with a lot of people before, whether that's actually
I listened to the podcast last week that wasn't on, and I do agree with your co-hosts and not with you about the Ditto. I think the Ditto is great in certain decks. It's just an extra. It's just a 5th comfy.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, obviously, it did very well for Arthur. The other thing was Spiritomb. So obviously, he was still respecting the Mew matchup, which was, I think, obviously quite important. I think if we look at Arthur's list, if we look at Arthur, what he played, I think he only played. He played 3 Mews before the final, and he won all of them. He won against all of them, and then he lost, unfortunately, to Fusion Mew Consta in the final. So you can see there, obviously.
So he played against 3 Charizards and 3 Mews. Why weren't these Mews playing the Charizards?
It's just the way the pairings go. Yeah. But something interesting about Arthur's deck, and it's quite interesting, is it was playing Cross Switcher. And cancelling Cologne. So it was usually, to me, the Switcher Cologne play. When you say to me Switcher Cologne, I'm like, oh well, that's Champao. Nope, that was Turbo Lost Zone as well, and he managed to fit it in, and he did really, really well, and it was consistent as well. So I wonder, it's been interesting seeing, especially the fact that we've had 2 American regionals won by Kyogre Lost Box. Now we had a European Turbo nearly get across the line.
There was a Sablezard that won, wasn't it? Was it Sacramento? I think it was Sacramento. Sablezard won, wasn't it?
No, Sacramento was won by Lugia.
It was Peoria. Peoria was won by Sablezard.
No, that was it Sablezard?
No, that was Kyogre. You're right.
That was Kyogre. Yeah, I don't think it's been one. Yeah, there was 2 back-to-back. So I'm pretty sure Peoria and Pittsburgh were both won by Kyogre Lost Box, and both won by Canadian players as well. So Raymond Long and Andrew Estrada. So yeah. So obviously well done to obviously Consta, well done to Arthur, kind of like finishing out the top 4. Owen Cameraman, who I've played against, he was running Chen Pao, again running the build that we've said. It's basically I got the list from Azul, but we've seen it Grant Shen run it consistently. So I think Grant Shen himself got 8th place at Peoria and 12th place in Sacramento. So consistent now, Grant Shen, and it's just I keep testing against this version, and there's no Arceus, there's no Pidgeot, there's no Palkia. It's just pure items. It's Pokestop items and go, and it works really, really well.
It's just 4 Irida and 4 Pokestop and all items, and that's it.
And 1 Iono.
Irida gets the items and 1 Iono. Irida gets the items, Pokestop gets the items. It's just an annoying deck. It's just so annoying. I hate it.
Massively so. Yes, unfortunately, I do too, and I play against a lot of it as well. So, and then fourth place, as we mentioned beforehand, Patrick, who was on stream, did really, really well. Made me fall back in love with Lugia again. The colorless build, really enjoyable. The only new inclusion really is the Mew EX, which I didn't see get used much, but I know it's there if you ever need it. And then just some special shout outs, really. So, shout out to Hermione, again, another Finnish player, came 7th with Lost Goo, a deck that I went to EUIC and bricked with. And then I actually played against a Lost Goo on the ladder, and they had the exact same problems. They have the exact same problems that I had, where it just bricks. But that's I think, I don't think there's many others. I think the only one I do, actually, to be fair, there's one more final shout out before we wrap up, and that's to Mateus, who came 25th, showing on Limitless as Burnett, but actually it was Gardevoir. So it was Gardevoir EX, and there were people on Twitter saying, "I'm watching Burnett EX on a championship stream. I'm loving it," and it was so much fun. And Joe obviously, Joe himself played against Mateus, and he said he lost the first game because he's just trying to figure out what actually his deck does. So again, we'll catch up with Joe next week and find out more about the deck. But it's fascinating that these techs really.
But that's the thing is with Burnett is item lock is actually super strong. We were just talking about Chen Pao. Its deck runs on items. The deck doesn't function without the items at all, because all its deck is items. Its supporter gets its items. Its stadium gets its items. If you can't use its items, it doesn't work. And then, same with other decks that need rare candy, all these stage 2 decks, Gardevoir, all these decks that are using items. In Vikavolt has been, especially Lost Box as well. Vikavolt is, with all its switches, Vikavolt was really prominent towards the end of the format, and Burnett EX is not something. It's because it doesn't have the buff yet. It doesn't have the damage buff that Vikavolt had with Regieleki VMAX.
Yeah.
So if at some point, if there's I don't know, some kind of buff for stage 1s that isn't just extra 10 damage for that stadium, or whatever it is, cycling road, whatever it is, then maybe like at some point in the future, Burnett EX 1 energy. Yeah,
it could. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, do I give this a try against Chen Pao? Because not being funny, Iono, Path, and Item Lock. Would they just scoop
Cheryl
maybe
as well?
You got Cheryl for the healing. You got Arven to get your items.
It doesn't matter if you discarding the energy with Cheryl, because Gardevoir EX.
I think Joe was saying on his video recently that Calamitous Wasteland as well messed him up, because you just don't can think about it, and then you retreat, and it's basically, all of a sudden a free retreat is a 1 retreat cost, and a 1 retreat cost is a 2 retreat cost, etc., etc. So it messes up maths, especially for the Don, which Joe was playing. And it just looks really good. I might give it a go, actually. I
was thinking when I was actually watching him on stream live, I was trying to just look at what he was going through his deck with, to try and figure out his list to play on because the tournament was on the Saturday when he was playing it, when I was watching it live, and my tournament was on the Sunday. So I was like, maybe I might just turn up with this deck, but I was trying to figure out what the cards were, and I couldn't figure out everything, so I didn't. But
it's what I'm gonna have to watch over and look at it. And obviously it's also got the Lost Origins Burnett as well, which has the ability Puppet Offering, so you get a supporter card from your discard in your hand. But then if you do that, obviously that Pokemon itself goes to the Lost Zone. But again, it's great for that Cheryl, for that boss, for that Iono. It's guaranteed if you've used it. It's very, very interesting. And I think Joe mentioned on his video, again, I keep going on about Joe's video, that he would look into this a lot more if it didn't become a bit redundant in the next format. I mean, it loses Shadow Rider, Calyrex, and also I think a lot of it will then just run it over, to be honest. Stuff like there's just a lot that can run it over. But it's I think overall really, really interesting watch. Really liking the new graphics as well for the stream, the Pokemon stream. Sometimes the only thing is from my side, sometimes they're so behind on the prizes. Like when someone takes a prize and then it's still showing 4 prizes even though down to 3, and you're like, that's not right. And there's just certain things. But I overall love the graphics. Obviously, the casters were on good form. Again, we mentioned Bert's TCG, a big fan of ours, and we're a big fan of his. He was fantastic, I thought. And overall, it was a really, really interesting tournament, and there's some really, really, really good matches to watch. So we have another tournament upcoming. So by the time you are listening to this, it'll be the Toronto regional. So again, looking forward to that. That is the last one in the 151 format, because after that, LAIC, the 17th of November, is then. And that's going to be Paradox Rift. It's the first one with Paradox Rift. So that's when we get to all have a look to see what we're going to be playing. And then obviously before a lot of us, it's not unfortunately not us, but a lot of our friends and fellow players, they're all going over to Gdansk over in Poland for the 25th of November for that regional as well, which also shares the same regional date as Brisbane. So it's good to see there's going to be lots to catch up on. So that's going to be, it's a bit of a stacked end of the month and end of next month as well. So really, really looking forward to it. And I'm really excited about Paradox Rift. Obviously, I said we were going to, at the start of the show, we're going to discuss the Paradox Rift and all, all the cards, all the decks we're looking forward to, all the kind of change of the meta. We're going to discuss that with Joe next week. But off the top of your head, what deck are you most excited for?
Goldengo.
Okay, and mine's Roaring Moon. Roaring. I think Roaring Moon looks like it's going to be some really good fun. I know that Tricky Jim, Andrew Mahone, and you can just get the turn 1 attack with Roaring Moon. It's mental how quick it can go. But I wonder if it's like Miraidon, which is just all set up and then falters in the end game, or whether it's got the capability to keep going. But I am really
it's got the Professor Sada, the supporter that can just keep putting energies on. And then it's got Dark Patch as well. So it does look very good. I wonder what it'd be paired with, or if it'll just be a straight.
I've seen, I think obviously Tricky Jim's video was straight Roaring Moon. I'm trying to think what else he put with it. Actually, I'm sure he put some other cards, but I can't remember. I think
it was a Moltres, maybe the Galarian Moltres. Well, I think he said he put it in and then he took it out because he just doesn't need it. But when you're just knocking everything out, you're just having Star Requiem every turn. I mean, I know you're doing 200 to yourself, but I only use the.
You're doing 220. You're doing 220, aren't you? If you discard, I think you're doing 220 if you discard the
100 plus 120. Yeah. So I mean, against one prize, against one prize is your set as well, because you don't have to waste your big attack doing 200 to yourself on little Pokemon. You can just do 100 damage and it's fine. So I think the fact that it doesn't knock itself out is what is keeping it from being bad, because if it knocked itself out and knocked the other Pokemon out, it would literally just be but also it would just be a drawing game. You'd go into so many sudden deaths. So I think he paired it with
New EX for the, I think, free pivot, and then the draw, and then also can copy attacks, and then also he paired it with Squawkabilly EX to obviously get a better turn 1, and then Radiant Greninja as well. I think he played Radiant Greninja just for draw and getting energy and discard, and that was all he played, and he absolutely tore through. It was Arvanzard. It was Arvanzard with, I think it was it Arvanzard? I think it was just basic Arvanzard.
I think he also paired it with Ancient Booster Energy or something. Or it was Ancient Booster, so you get an extra 60 HP. So essentially, he's got 80 HP left once he's used his thing. But I don't know if it's even actually still a. Well, actually, no, because I think he's got 230 HP. So
he's got 230 HP, and then the Ancient Booster
puts it to 290,
290, yeah.
which is a big number actually.
290 is a big number, and then for the fact is as well, for the same amount of energy, you can just take out a Charizard EX or a Mew VMAX in one. Well, new VMAX you wouldn't use it, but I'm saying VMAX cards and Charizard EX, you can just take it out. You can just take it out, really. Ridiculous. So it is absolutely busted, and I am looking forward for it. I am definitely looking forward to it. Last bit of news before we kind of roll off is there has been another set announced. So we're not even at Paradox Rift yet, but the our January holiday set has been announced. So Shiny Treasure EX has officially been revealed in Japan. So I think we discussed about it about 6-7 months ago when it was first trademarked, but it's now officially going to be released on the 1st of December in Japan and will include 190 basic cards and then secret rares. I think it's going to be a huge set. Some of the cards that have been showing are basically just reprints of all the Paldean starters. They've got baby shinies, and then they've got the EX cards, but in shiny format. And then, of course, there's a Charizard EX shiny as well. And I think there's just going to be loads and loads of reprints, really. Only one new card has been revealed, which is a new trainer called Clive, which is, obviously, if you've played the game, you'll know who Clive is. Your opponent reveals their hand, draw 2 cards for each supporter you can find there. That's it. So it's is it Ace Roder's Premonition? Is that very similar to it? Yeah. But this one, I think, obviously with Clive, that's it's draw 2 cards. So it's Ace Roller on steroids. But I mean, my wallet is still reeling from Paradox Rift pre-orders, but we've already got our set in January coming out, and I wonder what playable cards it's going to be. It's a never-ending long stream of awesome things to play and do in the Pokemon TCG. So I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap it up this week. So I think it was quite a good episode. I think obviously lots to talk about, too much to talk about. I think, to be honest, obviously we had Alex's undying love for Charizard EX. Now he's until
the next big deck comes out.
It just reminds me of that meme. Have you seen that meme where like friendship ends with X, now friends with that? Alex's friendship with Gardevoir EX ends, now best friends with Charizard EX. You do really dwell on one deck, but at least you're expanding your horizons and enjoying some Zard action. So, guys, I want to thank you all for listening and watching. The best way to keep in contact with us is in our social media channel. So we have a Twitter account, or X account, if you want to call it that, which is at Training Court.
Don't want to call it that.
You don't want to call it that, but that's at Training Court. We also have an Instagram account, which is at Training Court TCG. To watch us, the best place to catch us is on YouTube, where we try and release every Friday. And the best place is, again, YouTube. Yeah, just cut that out. The best way is where we try and release every Friday. And to find us, type in Training Court TCG or at Training Court TCG. If you want to listen to us exclusively, we're on Podbean, which is thetrainingcourt.podbean.com. Or you can listen to us on our Apple, or you can on your format of choice, which is Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Again, type the Training Court TCG podcast. Whilst you're there, if you can give us a like, a subscribe, a comment, keep dropping comments and let us know what you like, what you dislike, and what you want us to cover. Hopefully we'll have a full squad back next week with the inclusion of Omnipoke Joe coming on, which I'm really looking forward to, and I can't wait to catch you all then. Take care. See you then.
See ya.